Hey everyone, it's Jennifer Tarle from Tarle Speech, and welcome to Lunchtime Live on this beautiful Monday. I hope your week is off to a great start. So today we are going to continue talking about our stress exceptions, and our stress exception today is going to be the CIAL and TIAL ending. So we're going to get into that in just 1 minute. So if you can hear me and everything is working okay, can you go ahead and put something in the chat? That would be great. Okay, also, I have a little bit of a cold today, so please excuse me while I drink my soda. It helps my throat. And I have my tissues all ready. All right. By the way, if you like a soda, this new Dr. Pepper with cream soda, highly recommend. It's delicious. Okay. So the way this is going to work today is that this is a live class. I am going to present my slides and my lesson. And then I will take questions at the end. If you are listening to this on a podcast, welcome. I am presenting some visuals, and if you want to see those, you can head on over to my YouTube channel, Tarle Speech. That's TARLESPEECH, and you can watch the replay there. All right, so it looks like everyone can see and hear me. So, all right, here we go. So we're talking about word stress, and we've done this over the past few weeks. So word stress in English is based on the syllables, and each syllable is going to be slightly different. In many languages, with many people that I work with, every syllable is pronounced the same length, with the same pitch, and with the same loudness. So that gets confusing because we use stress in English to change the meaning of words. Other languages do this too, but in English we use this stress timing, which means certain syllables are louder, longer, and higher in pitch, and other syllables are lower, softer, and shorter. All right, so I am going to show you my slides just so you know what I am talking about here. All right. So I use this example all the time. So if you watch my other classes, you can kind of fast forward a little bit. So this is a great example of how the sound or the beat in the word change based on adding a prefix and a suffix. So if our word is happy, hap is my stress syllable. Happy, happy. That's louder, longer, and higher in pitch. My E is shorter, softer, and lower in pitch. Happy. I only have a set amount of time to say each word, so my syllables must fit into that time frame. So how do I do that? If I have 3 syllables and I add another syllable, that means I need to make one syllable a lot shorter. And that's when the schwa gets in there. And I'm going to talk about that in a future class. So the schwa is that sound that we use a lot in the middle of the word. This gets super confusing for people because we can spell the schwa sound with any letter vowel. So that's something else to keep in mind, that I talk about sounds. Spelling helps us determine which sounds to say, but there are many exceptions to the rules. There are lots of rules, but there are just some exceptions. So with the schwa, we use that in happily, happily, happily. You can hear my hap still gets the stress. My li is the middle length, and then my in the middle is super short. Happily. When I add un, everything needs to get shorter, all of those beats. So it's happy, happily, unhappily. My students tell me it sounds like I'm talking faster, sounds like I'm mumbling some of my syllables in the middle. I don't care how you think about it. You just need to make some syllables shorter and less pronounced. Okay. All right. So again, for today, we're talking about the TIAL and CIAL suffixes. So this particular suffix, this ending that we add to a word, it changes a noun into an adjective. We are going to pronounce it as shull, and we are going to stress the syllable before the suffix. I think my face is covering this. Let me take myself out. So again, CIAL, TIAL, change a noun into an adjective. We pronounce it shull, and the syllable before the suffix is going to get the stress. So let's talk about that shull suffix and what we're doing there. So for the shull, you can see my lips are puckered for that SH. Shh. And then I'm going to open my mouth. Oh, I have that short sound in there. And then I move to the L. Be sure that you touch your teeth to the back of your touch your tongue to the back of your top front teeth and hold it there for that L. Shull, shull, shull. Okay. So now we are going to practice some of this. So again, when I talked about our happy example, the stress remained the same. But there are some of these tricky suffixes or endings that change the syllable stress and you shift the stress. So they're stress imposing suffixes. This is one of them where we're going to shift the stress to right before the shull ending. And let's look at some of those. All right. So, before that, I forgot. I have a spelling tip for you. So typically we use the CIAL spelling after a vowel and TIAL after a consonant. Of course, there's always an exception. And the exceptions here would be initial, which is spelled with an I at the end of that syllable. We're going to end with TIAL. Financial and commercial, the N and the R consonants, that's going to be followed by the shull with the C. All right. So now we are on to practice. All right. So for practice, we are going to just listen and then, sorry about that. We're going to listen to me say the words. I'm going to hide these. Then I'm going to put them back up. You can repeat after me. And we'll do it one more time with you just saying the words on your own. Again, if you were listening to this as a podcast, you can go over to Tarle Speech on YouTube to find my word list visual. Also, if you can't remember that, you can follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all the places, and I'll post this there as well. All right. So I'm going to hide the words, and I'm not going to hide the words because I forgot to pull up the presentation for myself. So just go ahead and listen. All right. Facial, social, special, beneficial, artificial, partial, essential, potential, consequential, presidential. All right, so repeat after me. Facial, social, special, beneficial, artificial, partial, essential, potential, consequential, presidential. Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to invite you to go ahead and say these words on their own. I'll do one list in total just to see if you are listening, you might be able to remember all of them. Facial, social, special, beneficial, artificial. Partial, essential, potential, consequential, presidential. And then I'm going to try them one more time and then you can take a turn. Facial, social, special, beneficial, artificial. Partial, essential, potential, consequential, presidential. Awesome. How did you do, everyone? Everyone did okay? Does anyone have any questions just about what we talked about today? Go ahead and put those in the chat if you do. I do want to make a few comments on this. Some of the mistakes that I see, probably the most common mistake is people will pronounce this CIAL, or CIAL. Be careful of that. That CIAL and TIAL is only one syllable, one beat in the word shoal. Shoal. I hear with the word special, special, all the time. And it's just two syllables, special, not special, special, special. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so I think we got through all of it. I hope you found that helpful. If you really liked this, you can go back the past few weeks on my Monday lunchtime lives. We've talked about stress exceptions. One week we had on stress endings. Another we had ology, meter, and today we are doing the shoal and shoal. We have a few more of these, and then we're going to get into the schwa sound, which is kind of another stress exception. All right. So I just have to say a special hello to Lucky BC. I see you here. I'm so excited you're here. Lucky has been with me for many a year, and I really, really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. That's so exciting that you're here. Then Din, welcome. Jesus, welcome to you. And Ahmed, welcome. Okay. So let's see. We have a question here from Din, which is, how do you pronounce the word co-ed and what does it mean in American English? So co-ed is co and ed. It's like we break it into co-ed. I'm going to put this in the chat for you. So that's how we'd pronounce it. Co-ed, co-ed, co-ed. Now, we live in co-ed dorms in the US, and that means men and women live in the same dormitory, co-ed. Typically, men are in one room, women are in another room. They have separate living spaces, but both groups live in the same building. So that's what co-ed means. All right. I think you mean, how do you pronounce society? I think that's just a spelling mistake. I think that's what you mean is society. And that's society, society, society. I'm making the so part a sa, which is the schwa because that's unstressed. Society, society, and my sigh in the middle is stressed. Society, society, society. I do hear people say society. That's okay too. But a lot of people will reduce that first syllable to sa. All right. Just going through here. All right. Here's a new one. Could these words sound the same when spoken fast? Cleaner and cleaner. Absolutely. Visitor and visitor. Yes. Advisor and advisor. Yes. All of those can sound exactly the same in connected speech. Pizza. Okay. I say pizza more with a Z. Many people say pizza with just an S. So pizza or pizza. Pizza or pizza. Either is fine. There's definitely variations on that. Okay. We don't have many questions today. I do try to keep these short and sweet. So I'm going to wait a couple more seconds here to see if you have more questions. While we're waiting for that, just a few quick things if you're looking for more help. If you are looking for more help, I do have ebooks that are downloadable that have audio included. They're ebooks. Those are on Google Play, on iTunes, on Teespring, and on Teachers Pay Teachers. If you head over to Teachers Pay Teachers, it's not just for teachers. And there are several free downloads there. It's easiest to post those there. I do have one-on-one classes. That information is listed on my website if you are interested. I do have a few openings for the summer. I also teach classes in person now that we're sort of emerging from all of the restrictions from COVID. Please reach out to me if you'd like me to teach a class. I've taught in person in China and in Japan. So I would love to take the show on the road and come there. I also do live lectures for classes if you are all interested, if you are a teacher. I do that as well. And I've started reviewing products on Amazon because so many of my students were asking me for game and language learning and book recommendations for their children. And so you can find all of those on my Amazon storefront. And funny, people have asked me about some of my clothes and my office products. So I have those on there as well. And then some people were just kind enough to send me free things, and I did some reviews on those. So anyway, you can check those out there if you're interested. I think that's it. Also, YouTube, people, over 1,000 free lessons, free, all of them. So take advantage, go back into the archives, see me like almost 20 years ago. The material's still the same. I'm a lot younger. All right. Oh, I see a few more questions came in. Oh my goodness. The forever question, the versus All right. I'm not exaggerating. I get a question a day about the short U versus the short sound. So that sound is that very wide open circle mouth sound in American English. Your tongue tip is low, the back is pulled up. It's ah. The short U, the sound, is just a relaxed mouth. Your mouth is slightly open and your tongue is just kind of hanging out in the middle of your mouth. I've had some complaints about using short versus long sounds. It's just a naming convention. It makes teaching a lot easier. I know that the sounds are technically not that different in length, but they do sound different to a lot of people. And that short and long really helps people. But this is also the way we teach reading in the US. And so this helps all of my parents out there who are learning pronunciation and learning to read the American way with their kids who are in kindergarten, first and second grade. All right. So rush, your mouth is just going to be slightly open. Rush, rush, rush. And then for rash, you're going to open your mouth more. Rash, rash, rash. Okay. The same thing goes for budge, to push, and badge, what you would wear to identify yourself. And din, correct. Stripper and stripper, they are pronounced the same, not necessarily the same thing. All right. Okay. Thanks a million. You're welcome. That's so nice of you. Off topic. I'm still loving you. I don't know if I'm understanding your question. The verbs want, know, love aren't used with scorpions. I'm still loving you. Is that a song? If someone can clarify, I'm not quite sure. If that's a song or not. I'm not super into music. I listen. I'm that crazy person that always gets the lyrics wrong. So give me some clarification on this, and then I'm happy to answer. Okay. And then what's the difference between steal, grab, and rob? Similar meaning. You might hear these used interchangeably in the news, but steal is to take something that is not yours. So you can steal from a store and no one is involved. Grab means literally that you take something. So you can, grab this drink, or you can grab something through stealing. And then to rob is also stealing, but oftentimes it involves a person. Like you rob a person, you steal from a specific person. So ultimately the same. However, there are tiny nuances that I just talked about. How can I pronounce specialists correctly? Okay. So specialist is pronounced specialists. And I'm going to put that in the chat. So if any of you are in the US, or if you are abroad and you have friends who are native English speakers, ask someone to spell the word for you phonetically. Most people can do this. Most people can spell the word how it should be spelled, not how it is spelled. And this helps a lot of people. So in this case, specialists is specialists, specialists. You can also think about it. Again, people think about these slightly differently. Specialists is another way to think about it. And sometimes thinking of things as real words really is helpful. Okay. And then how do you pronounce Aegis? I don't know. I have to be honest. I'm going to have to Google that. And hand of Midas or touch of Midas. So Midas is Midas, Midas. The Aegis, I'm not sure. I'm going to Google that. I'm not quite sure. Aegis, Aegis. That is a shield or breastplate emblematic of majesty that is associated with Zeus and Athena. So Aegis, Aegis, Aegis. I'm still loving you. No, that's not a mistake. We can say that. I'm still loving you. That's totally fine. Yes, wrap her and rapper are exactly the same. That was my comment. B, you were correct. I just met you and thank you, B. I thought you were commenting on the other question. Oh, that is so sweet. Welcome. I appreciate that. Can you give me an idea about phrasal verbs? Yes. Phrasal verbs are everywhere in English, just are compound nouns. Basically, when two words are put together and they must be together, they're either a compound noun or a phrasal verb. My example is always check out. So we can go to the checkout counter, which is describing the type of counter, the checkout counter. So that's a noun that we're going to use all together. So we're going to stress check because that's the first word. If we're saying you want to go there to check out, that's the verb. We're using that as the action that we're doing. And then in that case, we're going to stress word to. So again, for nouns, we mainly stress word one. For verbs, we mainly stress word to. And that rule is also the rule if you've been watching my heteronym lessons every Friday. They're mainly about word stress. And with those, it's the same. When we have two syllables, we mainly stress syllable one in nouns and syllable two if it is a verb. Okay, so that is how that works. And there are so many phrasal verbs. If you Google phrasal verbs, a gazillion pop up. So for instance, take out, take off, can mean many things. So take out means you pull something out of something. Take off can mean like you take something off of your body, like you take you take your coat off. Or take off can mean that a rocket ship goes into space. So we use these phrasal verbs a lot. You can learn those by listening to television, by watching movies and all those types of things. All right. So to answer your question again, the loving, it's not a mistake. And hello to you in Brazil at level C1. That's amazing. Columbia, the country, and Columbia, the university. We pronounce those the same in the US. Now, we do have a lot of Spanish speakers in the US. So some people will say Colombia for the country versus Columbia for the university, but that's a subtle difference. Yale does not sound like yell. Yale has that long A and your mouth moves. Yell has the short E and your mouth does not move. I'm not sure I know what an inseparable phrasal verb is. I'm going to Google it. You all, I'm sorry about my nose. I didn't want to cancel class though. Okay. Yes. So basically, an inseparable phrasal verb is a phrasal verb that cannot be separated. I don't really have a lot of examples off the top of my head, but that could be something that I do a class on maybe in the future. And hello to you in Chile. I'd love to visit your country. Okay. So I think that is it. Again, we are at time. It is 12:30. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for all of your support. I am at 200,000 subscribers on YouTube, which blows my mind. I've been doing this a very long time, and I only started this just to help people, never to get to any type of limit or number of followers on YouTube, but I am humbled that I do have so many followers and that all of you have shared me with your friends and your family, and that you keep coming back time and again. Again, I do have over 1,000 lessons on YouTube. I post a homophone every Tuesday for Two for Tuesday. Those words are spelled differently but pronounced the same. And then I've been posting heteronyms on Fridays, and those are words that are spelled the same but pronounced differently. I'm posting shorts the other days. I'm actually thinking of modifying that schedule. I'm just having a hard time keeping up with posting a short every day. I'm going to continue to post the shorts as well. And I am starting to work on a series about spelling and pronunciation and word stress and pronunciation, which is starting here. And we'll be back for another one next week. If you're interested in the podcast, you can get that pretty much everywhere. And I also started posting this as a YouTube podcast, which is a relatively new feature on YouTube. And I have all of my Tuesday classes posted as a podcast. So thank you for putting up with my congestion today. I appreciate you always, but especially more today since I sound a little off. So have a great day, everyone. And I hope to see you tomorrow for Two for Tuesday and next week for our live. So thanks, everyone. Take care and have an amazing week ahead.